Welcome to a new edition of the Neon Jazz interview series with jazz singer Lauren Henderson. We talked to her about releasing her newest 2020 CD, The Songbook Sessions, during a global pandemic. We spoke on April 19, 2020, as the coronavirus lockdown persisted, about this new world of no live jazz and the surreal nature of things that are going on. Enjoy.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, hanging in there. How you doing?
Fine, thank you. Hanging in as well.
Man, where exactly are you at?
I am in New Jersey.
Okay. Yeah, you're at the epicenter.
I am. I'm in the heart of everything, and my husband is an emergency room physician, so we're right in the middle of everything.
Wow. So yeah, you're getting all the fronts of reality. They should be talking to you about this.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's intense.
The one thing I've been wanting to do as a functionality of this new world that we live in right now is to really reach out, talk to musicians about what's going on, and I think it's going to be a good thing to kind of think about something other than whatever all the news and everything that's really going on. But
absolutely.
But, you know, I know that you have an album coming out, Songbook Sessions, and, you know, so my question to you is this. It's a twofold question. You got an album that's coming out during a global pandemic.
Yeah.
And you also have an album coming out that you have to think of from an artistic standpoint. So do me a favor and kind of, it's a two-part question. Talk to me about how you feel about this, because we've talked before, and, you know, I know how you feel about, you know, music and you're releasing it to the world. So talk to me a little bit more specifically about this album. I love the artwork on the front cover, by the way. And
oh, thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful. And then just kind of what it's like to release this during a global pandemic and what your perception of that is for the, you know, potential audience.
As you know, the Songbook Session is coming out on the 24th, so that's right around the corner. And, of course, we planned this a long time ago. We recorded the record almost 2 years ago, so it's fun to listen to us. And, you know, hopefully we've even grown since then, but we've been enjoying the whole process. It was shocking. I was actually, when I woke up this morning, I got a notification from my phone saying, get ready for your trip to Paris, because I was supposed to be on tour. And of course, not to be crass, but of course, you know, we're losing lots of money. So that's always nerve-wracking to artists, especially independent contractors in general, when you're getting ready to head out and make money, and then suddenly all of that stops and everything's put on pause. And, you know, we've all been kind of turned upside down. So that's a little nerve-wracking when you're releasing a new record, because, of course, you have to give a little to get a little. So I've been managing that, but I really, one thing that's great about community is just people have been asking, you know, how can they help? How can they support me? And I've definitely seen the support online, whether it's through streaming or Spotify plays or Apple Music or people checking out the YouTube channel. I really appreciate that, and it makes me hopeful about releasing new music, because I think people have some extra time, so hopefully they take the time to listen to the record.
You know, the one thing I think all of us are trying to do as we've phased through this, like, longest month and a half of our lives is that we've gotten these pockets of information, and then we've adapted to it in our lives. And it's evolved up to this point right now. And you're probably in a pretty unique perspective, because you're an artist that's releasing material to the world, and you're close to somebody that's an ER doctor during this time, and you happen to be next to ground zero worldwide for some of the most rampant things. So talk to me a little bit about kind of how you, like what you've seen and how it's evolved up to this point, you know, kind of debunking any myths and just a real look at what's going on.
Sure, absolutely. Well, this was on my radar far in advance. I think I was getting ready also to head to Italy for the maybe 12th time. So needless to say, a lot of the musicians I work with there are family to me. And so I knew much sooner, and I won't get into politics, but I noticed this happening way in advance, and it became clear to me that we need to take action. And it's been really scary to see my husband go through this. The hospitals and a lot of his colleagues, whether it's at his hospital or other places. Actually, his hospital is doing quite well, thankfully, but you know, a lot of people are looking for PPE. They're put in dangerous situations. He has many colleagues who have fallen ill, and so we're just hoping for the best for them and praying for them. And seeing him every day, you know, really risk his life is overwhelming. It's also very inspirational, and you know, whenever he's here, I try to make things comfortable for him. But of course, I also have my label and my music, so I've been writing a lot, and there's so much to pull from right now. I'm definitely inspired to write. There are so many things that we can explore, so I'm really hoping that the music can uplift the community. But yes, people, please stay home. It's very, very contagious, and even very healthy people who are young in their early 30s are getting very, very sick. So just keep that in mind.
Along with that, you know, we're going to get to the point where life will come back and, you know, whatever version of that it is, whether it's modified or somewhat normal or however that happens. And we're going to have musicians on stage and we're going to have audience members in the crowd. What revelations, what realizations do you hope we have when we return to this music that we've lost, you know, in the last month and a half of our lives? Just kind of an unimaginable sequence of events that's happened and that, you know, will come out of it at some point.
You know, I'm really hoping for something that I've been seeing a lot of, which is this community and people supporting each other and not worrying about affiliations or any of the underlying terms, and just supporting each other as the human race and everybody coming together. And I hope that that spreads into all communities and all genres and all sectors of work and different pursuits that people have, because I felt a lot of support from other people in the jazz community, and whether it's receiving emails or people checking in or sharing. And I really hope that everyone does that, regardless of their profession or their passion. And I really hope that community continues to be key and people learn from this, because this is a big learning opportunity for us, and it will change us, and we'll have to adjust.
So I guess part of this is rhetorical, but it's also just kind of probing the possibilities. You know, what do you believe anybody can do to support the jazz community during this time, and even the arts during this time of tumult? Because, you know, realistically, there's more jazz musicians than there are not that are totally dependent on gigs and totally dependent on 1099 work and all of that. So what can be done in this new era, quarantine era?
Yes, well, I speak for myself and many others when I say, please support music that you don't even have to spend money to do that. So you can like people's posts, whether it's going to their Instagram page and showing them some love, or their Facebook page, or sharing the music that you like from that person. So you can share it through Apple or whatever platform you use, Spotify, YouTube. If you like a video, share, spread it with your community. Just tell the artists, give them some positive feedback. Tell them that you're enjoying it. I really appreciate that in any circumstance when fans and supporters reach out and share what they're enjoying and why. That means so much to us as artists, and I hope that people continue to do that. And obviously buying music really helps. You can buy things from Bandcamp or on iTunes or from artist platforms, whether it's their website or however they distribute things. And even if fans send me emails, I'm happy to mail them hard copies of the record as well. So I think doing all of that, sharing, spreading the love, playing them, adding them to your playlist, it means the world to all of us.
Well, we'll keep doing that. We'll keep putting it out there. And if there's anything that I've realized prior to this is, and it seems very logical, but it's a little bit more than that, is that jazz really is kind of an impersonation of life. Everything, no matter how much you Groundhog Day it, will never happen a second time. And if there was probably ever any time in history that any artists are probably uniquely qualified for this, it's jazz artists, because everything's improv to begin with.
Right, exactly. I love the Nina Simone quote. It's an artist's duty to reflect the times, and I think that's what we're going to be doing now. And it's an opportunity to come together.
You know, I remember in that Bob Dylan biopic, I think Annette Bening played him, and at one point he was in a house and he was just bemoaning what he needed to write about. Like, he wanted to be this folk singer. He wanted to change the world, and he just was ruminating about what he wanted to write, how he wanted to write it, how he was going to get there. And there was an old chambermaid in there, and she just stopped and looked over and said, just do your life, okay? Don't overthink it. Just cover your existence. And I think that's the thing about art that a lot of people realize. They feel like there needs to be some profound thing that goes into it. You can put that in with the integrity behind it, but it's just a reflection of your life. And sometimes people think, oh, well, that's not enough, but it really sometimes just can be. You know, you don't have to really over squeeze the orange when you're in the middle of a global pandemic.
Right, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. We just have to be authentic and real and honest, and I think that resonates with people much more.
Well, if there's anybody that does it the best, it's you as a jazz community. That's one of the reasons I've always admired you guys. You guys just are. You're grounded. You're dealing with one of the higher arts on the planet, and you're always humble and ready to give and do it with class. So I hope everything turns around, and whatever part we can do to kind of get you guys uplifted is I think it's pretty important.
Oh, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. I can't thank you enough, and thank you for the light that you're giving to the arts in general. I really appreciate that.
Thanks for listening and tuning into another Neon Jazz interview, where we give you a bit of insight into the finest players in New York City, Kansas City, and spots all over the globe, giving fans all that jazz. And thanks to Lauren for her time, music, and stories. If you want to hear more interviews, go to Famous Interviews with Joe Domino on the iTunes Store. Visit neonjazz at youtube.com, and for everything Neon Jazz all the time, go to the neonjazz.blogspot.com. Until next time, enjoy the jazz, my friends.
Neon Jazz.